The Zeus Mk II is a bit of an all-singing, all-dancing ship, acting as a springboard for a variety of different gameplay types in Star Citizen. The CL or Clipper or cargo variant leans heavily into using more of the space aboard the ship to leverage a significant cargo capacity for the size, which naturally makes it an interesting option for players looking for a medium-sized ship capable of doing a few different things in-game. So, a few weeks after release, how does the Zeus CL perform in-game? I'm Forrester, and this video will review the currently flyable Zeus Mk II CL model, which is described on the Star Citizen website as a medium freight ship. If you've seen other ship reviews on this channel, then you'll be right at home with this video, which follows the same format. It's split into 5 sections, starting with a ship tour, assessing combat performance, reviewing handling and visibility, looking at the operating costs before finally summarising. As always, I've included timestamps in the video description in case you want to skip ahead. And if you're one of the many people watching who isn't yet subscribed to the channel, you might consider it, so you can be notified of future Star Citizen videos as they go live. And we'll start touring the big blue Zeus CL from the left or port side of the ship. We'll start from the rear of the ship, where right next to the cargo bay on the port side is a fuel port. It doesn't really do anything in game other than deploy and retract, but it's a neat little feature to see that in there. Right at the back of the ship is also the cargo ramp, which is deployed by a button on the starboard side. As soon as the ramp comes down, the significant size of that rear cargo bay becomes obvious. The ramp is wide enough to accommodate a variety of different ground vehicles. After closing the door mechanism hidden behind some glass looks pretty cool. Within the space of the cargo bay, the central area is for loading some crates, and there's also component access hidden in the walls on the sides. The different component bays do house slightly different components, but they are numbered to make things a little easier for owners. In this cargo bay there's also a weapons rack. Moving further forward through the ship, we enter into the midships. Amidships there are 2 doors. Off to the port side is the habitation section. There are 3 lockers to access the onboard inventory, and 4 bunks, although only 3 of those bunks are set up as beds. In the forward section of this part is also the small bathroom area. Opposite from the habitation, across the corridor, is the mess hall. This is a small galley-style mess hall where there's a single seat for looking out, and some small kitchen appliance type areas that are hidden behind some glass doors controlled by buttons. The window offers a modest view out to the ship. Moving further forward to the forward section, we enter into an accessibility type area. There's the ladder for getting in and out of the ship, as well as some additional component access clearly marked. There's also an engineering terminal, coming soon. The component access, much like the rear of the ship, are hidden behind some small doors, as is another relay station with 1 fuse equipped by default. Further forward are 3 suit lockers for the crew, and an airlock with 2 doors that open to the exterior. It is possible to walk out onto the top of the ship from this airlock. Finally, right at the front of the Zeus CL is the cockpit. At the rear of the cockpit on the port side is some more component access. On the starboard side is another slightly more significant weapons rack. And there are 3 chairs for the co-pilot, the pilot and the turret gunner. Beneath the floor you can see the missiles loaded. The pilot's chair is right at the front in the centre. The Zeus Mk comes armed with 2 size 4 weapons on gimbals at the front of the ship, controlled by the pilot. By default, those are 2 Omnisky 12 laser cannons, and pack a surprisingly significant punch, especially against smaller targets which vanish quickly under fire. The gunner has a remote turret armed with 2 size 3 Panther repeaters, but unfortunately the sighting of the turret beneath the hull makes it a little more limited in usefulness, as the natural movement for the pilot is to pull the nose up to the target rather than push down, making it hard for the turret gunner to fire. That said, one neat feature is that the turret gunner is currently able to fire both in remote turret mode, but also by aiming with the mouse with the regular bridge view, which can make it easier to keep situational awareness while still engaging hostiles. It's worth adding that to get the most out of the turret may require some power adjustments to get both weapons firing effectively. The CL also carries 8 size 2 missiles, which adds to potential firepower, especially against smaller targets. Sadly, those missiles can't be swapped out for different sized missiles, as the hardpoints are fixed into the ship itself. Defensively, the Zeus CL is equipped with 3 size 2 shield generators, which is fewer than on the ES model, but still a relatively strong shield performance. For example, the C1 Spirit only carries 1. All in all, that makes the Zeus CL a fairly reasonable combat ship against low to medium risk AI targets, able to tangle with some similar sized opponents and come out on top. Naturally, player targets in more nimble ships will be more of a risk, with the limited fire angles and slower turn speeds hampering the CL somewhat, but for the solo pilot engaging NPC targets, the Zeus CL should get the job done. By way of visibility, the Zeus CL is a mixed bag, with mostly good sightlines to the sides and the front, with a minor obstruction due to the canopy struts, but also above the pilot's head, which can interfere with vision during dogfights. That said, for cargo operations, visibility is probably better than some of the competition. The SCM speed limiter sits at 200 meters per second, matching the Zeus ES, which is surprisingly fast for a little cargo hauler. That's noticeable, however, in the handling, where at those top speeds, the CL is very sluggish, drifting heavily through turns, with the ship being much easier to move around at lower speeds. There's also a strange behaviour when coming to an absolute stop, especially when strafing sideways, where the ship seems to lift up ever so slightly, as if catching the wind or something. Obviously that's not what's happening, but it's still a noticeable phenomenon when coming into land, taking a couple of seconds for the ship to register a downward strafe request. The nav speed at 1000 meters per second is more in keeping with other ships at this size and feels about right. Once again, it's slower to make direction changes at those speeds, but that's really not unusual for other ships either. With a recent sub-patch nullifying speed differences between quantum drives, the quantum speed is the speed, but notably the Zeus CL does carry enough quantum fuel to cross Stanton a couple of times before refueling. On the bright side, the Zeus CL is cheap to operate, with refuel, repair and rearm costs usually in the hundreds to low thousands, perhaps close to 5 figures of Alpha UEC if it's really taken a beating. But it also offers a few different ways to make those credits back. Low to medium combat contracts are very doable with the Zeus, MRTs seem to be the happy place and more than cover the running costs. Yet for most, the draw will be their large cargo bay at the back, with an on-paper capacity of 128 SCU. More on why that's an on-paper capacity later. But suffice it to say that the Zeus CL can chew through medium hauling contracts just fine, as well as having just enough cargo capacity to make cargo trading a viable option. Alternatively, the cargo bay also carries a ramp, which has plenty of room aboard for a variety of ground vehicles, including the rock mining rover, if you're that way inclined. In terms of upgrades, the stock Zeus seems to pretty much do the trick. Somebody expecting to lean into combat could arguably mil-spec the ship, but for many a player the appeal is likely to be the cargo bay at the back, which isn't really enhanced by changing any of the components. There's a lot to like about the Zeus CL. To begin with, it's aesthetically very fresh, and whilst the paint scheme or internal decorations might not be to every pilot's taste, there's undeniably a distinctive style there. The ship is relatively easy to fly, can fight against NPCs, and offers gameplay for both solo players and, debatably, a pair. The Zeus series also avoids the issues that plagued the C1 Spirit by offering a ladder right up front near the cockpit, making it feasible to use the whole cargo bay and also quicker to get back to the pilot's chair. Then there's the large cargo bay at the back, with a ramp to make hauling vehicles a possibility, as well as the inbuilt tractor beam making it possible to relatively quickly load or unload goods from the co-pilot chair. However, there are some problems. Firstly, the tractor beam struggles with larger crates, so a 16 or 32 SU crate is very hard to load aboard with the onboard tractor beam. Secondly, the on-paper 128 SCU of cargo storage requires the inclusion of 2 SCU crates to fill a lot of the gaps, and the more boxes you have, the longer it all takes. Thirdly, the 128 SCU of cargo storage is difficult, and that's because of the way the cargo grid is set up. The cargo grid stacks 3 SCU high and 5 SCU wide, which is hard to optimize. It also includes some random space at the sides, which is also hard to access. It also includes the very back of the cargo bay, which often catches on the lip of the ceiling, which can make loading and unloading manually a real pain. It is possible to do, but it's a trial of patience to get it working. The cargo grid also notably omits the spaces immediately after entering the cargo bay on either side of the doorway, which is a space large enough to comfortably fit an 8 SCU crate on either side. So there's 128 SCU of cargo on a hard to use grid, but even more unused capacity off grid too. These issues combined can make the Zeus CL hard work to load and unload unless using automatic loading, which seems to be scarcely available in the current patch. For a newly released ship, it would be nice if the cargo grid worked more naturally. All of that said, for those using the Zeus CL as a medium cargo hauler, the trick seems to be to completely ignore the grid. For the medium hauling contracts around the 100 SCU mark, using the spaces right at the back of the cargo bay off-grid usually means there's enough physical space aboard to load everything, and having the ladder access means avoiding the treacherous path past those off-grid crates. With fewer, larger 8 SCU boxes, the onboard tractor beam works well and can do a lot of the loading from the comfort of the ship itself. Perhaps in future, having boxes bouncing around the ship without being strapped down might be more of an issue, but for now, it seems to work. So at least in the short term, the Zeus CL does work well as a ship for completing medium hauling contracts. Ultimately, there are plenty of quirks to the bulky blue barge that is the Zeus CL, but they're not insurmountable for an owner who doesn't care about min-maxing, who just wants a nice environment to fly around in and move stuff around or do some clunky combat. It's a viable solo ship, as well as offering some gameplay for a second player both for peaceful and combat gameplay, which is a good position to occupy. The Zeus CL is, however, a recently launched ship, which means it has the advantage of being very shiny, but the drawback of having no in-game prices yet, and at risk of rebalancing if future patches deem it too powerful. The out-of-game price is $160, which is a lot for a virtual spaceship, but the Zeus CL does offer a lot of variety for that money as a jack of all trades, a platform to lean in to a few different gameplay loops. The main competitors are the C1 Spirit and the Freelancer Max, and the Zeus CL does really dominate both of those in general utility. But given that both of those ships are around the 3 to 4 million Alpha UEC mark, perhaps waiting for an in-game price might be the way to go for many. I do know the Zeus CL is a popular ship, it even turned my head as a C1 pilot, so I'm really looking forward to reading some thoughts on the ship in the video comments. If you enjoyed this video, you might press the like button to help me understand what videos to make more of in future, and if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, you might like to do that too, so that YouTube knows to show you more videos like this in future. But otherwise, and as always, thank you for watching.